watch the magic go down in the King's Court. The vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the King's shining star. Expect the unexpected. This is where it's at. From NBA insights to the latest chit chat. Grab your popcorn, sit tight, we're ready to roll. In the heart of Sacktown, we're feeding your soul. In the King's Court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the King's shining star. With the NFL, Adams in the ring. Rhino's got the wisdom, hear the praises we sing. Court in session, it's a royal affair. With the fans all around, feel the passion in the air. In the King's Court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the King's shining star.
Elizabeth, I'm going down.
Oh boy, that's a tough. Who this guy?
You big dummy. You big. Sacramento, you got a real one. You have a real one. Not saying Nique Clifford is going to be an all-star this year or next year. This guy is legit. He is a player. 9 assists, 1 turnover today, leading the Kings 94-86. They got a little bit of a charity foul at the end of the game because differential is everything. Differential is the name of the game. You have 8 teams that are undefeated. We're going to go over it. The Kings are the first one to get to 4-0. So 4 of those 8 teams will advance. And by the way, the Kings gave up, check this out, 23 offensive rebounds today. And they actually started a bigger lineup, which was incredible to me. And they still pulled through it. So Kings handle their business in Vegas. They wait. Time to scoreboard watch tonight. That'll be more exciting than the ESPYs, by the way. I can't get into the ESPYs. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the Kings Court. Happy to have you here. Court is in session. I'm hearing, believe it or not, sometimes I like to unplug a little bit, get away from the Kings, clear my mind. Maybe something catches my eye or somebody says something that like sparks a thought. And it's like, I want to know more about that. Right. So I sit down to watch a documentary. It was a Vice documentary about the 2008 economic collapse. And they had like interviews with all the players. They had an interview with the president. And I'm like 15 minutes into this doc and I'm feeling it. I'm like, okay, this is a really good production. And then my phone starts blowing up from people that were watching Grant's show, people giving me a heads up about something that happened on the show with somebody that's very well known around here. So, of course, I've got to redirect my attention. And now I'm thinking, do I need to have the trial of Dennis here on the King's Court? I mean, I'm not sure if you caught what happened last night, but my man Dennis, he was feeling himself just a little bit.
Dennis, stop for a minute. I didn't say anything bad about you, Dennis.
I love you, Grant.
Whoa, Dennis, my man. We'll talk as the show goes on, buddy. You got me away from my my unplugged time to listen and deal with that. What happened, Dennis? Dennis, I do think if I had to make a guess, little bit of a
Hello, Tribe fans. Welcome back to Major League Baseball. So,
which is fine as long as you're not driving, as long as you are in your own domicile. But my man, the passion last night, Holy crap. And then he doubled down in the chat too. He doubled down in the chat. So tell you what, Dennis, since I don't feel comfortable really unplugging tonight, Grant and I will be on together 7 o'clock tonight. We'll talk about the Kings. We should have a better idea about whether or not they should be in the top four. I'm going to give you the numbers. They're not updated yet, but here's the number that you need to know. 11 and a half, 11.5. That is the Kings net rating. They're plus minus through 4 games in Vegas. If you heard Max earlier today, actually during the game, being interviewed, they were hoping, they were shooting to win by 15, which would have kept their plus minus at right around 14.6, 14.8, which all but would have guaranteed the Kings will get into the top 4. Here's the other thing that's going on, and I say you got a scoreboard watch. A lot of these teams that are in the top 8 right now, they're playing still today. Some are playing each other. So you'll have a couple of teams that take each other out. So anyways, couple of ways to get involved in the show today. You can use the chat line. As always, we'll get to your questions. You can call the show via the links that are in the chat or the QR code. I do have the Google line open for you today. So if you would like to try to get in on the phone line, you can do that. There's your number. 916-822-9485. We can only take one call at a time. If we have somebody up talking via video, don't call then. Wait till it's just like a moment like this, then call. So I'll be able to take it because we do not have a screener. As much as you would like to think I've got 3 producers over there and a call screener behind me, no, I'm kind of a one-man show as of today. But anyways, what you want to talk about, the Kings and the Cavs. The Kings, massive win. This first time, actually, that they were playing in not Cox Pavilion. It's Thomas and Mack now. They had been in the Ox Gym the first 3 games. Really nobody in the stands for the most part. Your Kings officials were there. Doug was there. But Nique Clifford is just the story of this summer. The kid seems like the real deal, top to bottom. And again, this is what you would expect for somebody that's played 5 years in college or 4 years in college, especially with the same team for at least a couple of those years. Nique was with Colorado State for at least 2. I think it was 3. And then he was at Colorado for a year or 2 before that. So he's got a little bit of an edge in terms of physical build, in terms of basketball IQ. But the edge that this kid has right now, it's far beyond that. If you watch today's game, not only does this kid know his spots and is able to create his own shots, when defenders are in his spots, he can get them off. Pretty incredible stuff. But again, 9 assists, 1 turnover. I believe he finished with 19 points in this one. So the Kings, they go perfect, as they should have. Jerry and I have both said this. The Kings should be battling for a championship in Summer League because of the fact that you've got 3 G League champions on there. You got Devin Carter, who, quote unquote, second-year player. And you've got Nique, who is proven out. I mean, Nique's going to be on the first team. I'm sure. I think they do a first team all Summer League. He's got to be on the first team. I don't see how he can be left off that with the performances that he has had and the way that he has played. I mean, really just the floor general for the Kings. Anybody, and I know Grant's pushed back on it. I know many of you, Jerry's not completely on board, but this kid sees the floor better than anybody right now on the Kings. He naturally sees, okay, let me take it a step back. Let me walk that back. At the guard position, he sees the floor better than anybody that is currently on the Kings roster. It's natural. You can't teach it. I asked Jerry yesterday, can you make point guards or are point guards born? And yes, he's built more like a 2, a very small 3, but this is your distributor that you've been asking for. Maybe it's not at the point guard, but you now have a guy that can get the ball to the right places. He's not a guy that I think the ball is going to stall out on. In fact, he's starting to kind of feel like a guy that wants the ball in those situations. He absolutely closed this one out for the Kings. So if you had a chance to watch it, give me your feedback. Let me know what you think. But you have a legit player here. Legit. He has had a better summer than Keegan Murray. So let's start the conversation there. A better summer than Keegan Murray, but Keegan Murray did not have 3 G League champions and a second-year player on his summer league team. So you've got to kind of balance those two things out. Yesterday, something that I said that I'm not sure that I want to get this across. Nobody really pushed back on me. But if you're looking at Nique's game as a whole, and you had to ask me which way does his game lean in terms of the way he sees the floor, the smoothness, the composure, he leans closer to number 0 that used to play here in Sacramento than he does number 5 that just left Sacramento. In fact, he is your number 5 now. I'm not saying he is Tyrese Halliburton. I'm saying if you had to say the way he plays, which way does it go? It goes towards number 0. So he's still got a long ways to go. And this is only summer league. It's 4 games, but the consistency, that's everything for me. That's everything for me. The coachability. They did a interview with him after the game. And he's like, yeah, Doug was giving me a couple tips and I was able to utilize this, utilize that during the game. You got a real one. And you still got Max Reynaud, who he is going to be a little bit more of a project. He got called today for a couple of illegal screens. That's going to be the challenge for Max. If you go back and watch the film, if any of you have ever played football, you know how they teach you sometimes to block where you've got your arms in like this and you're blocking like that? He's setting screens like that. That's where his body's going to get bigger. He's going to learn from Domas, who sets some of the best screens in the NBA. So that's going to be a project. It's going to be a couple, 2, 3 years, because those screens aren't going to work in the G League. Those screens aren't going to work in Summer League. You're going to get called for an offensive foul, or you're just going to get ran through. And so he is definitely more in that project side, very, very high IQ, and probably will still play minutes this year. But Nique Clifford, he has stolen the show here in Sacktown over the last 4 games. So much respect to the Kings. Now let's get down to what the Kings have to do. This was updated as of last night. So this does not reflect today. This reflects the end of play last night. Those are your 8 teams that are undefeated currently. Coming into the game, the Kings, you can see what their net rating was. I believe it's 14.6, something around there. Where are they at? Where are they at? Sack. 12.7. That's what they were at. Excuse me. Why did I think it was 14? 12.7 is what the Kings were at. They're now at 11.5. But you have games ongoing right now. Here are the games for the rest of today as I bring you back in. You can see 1 team is going to be getting a loss. It's either going to be Minnesota. Is it LA? Let me double check this, because I went through this. I think it's the LA game. LA, the Clippers play somebody. Maybe all the games are not listed right there. Okay. So I'll double check that. We'll go to NBA.com. But basically, you have a couple of undefeateds that are going to play each other. It's it's San Antonio, excuse me, and Charlotte. Those 2 play today. So anyways, we'll get down to it. Thanks for being here again. Grant and I are getting together tonight at 7 o'clock. So come back for that. We'll get into the particulars of what the Kings need to do. In fact, let me just pull this up right now so we can look at the remaining schedule. Here we go. Let's go there. There we go. All right. So your remaining schedule today, you got the Kings victory already. Phoenix and Minnesota. Minnesota is one of the teams that's currently in the top 8. Milwaukee, Chicago, Orlando, Brooklyn, Dallas and the Sixers, New Orleans and OKC. OKC is undefeated. Washington and the Jazz. Oh, it's games tomorrow. Okay, that's what I was missing. I only had Wednesday up. I knew that there were other undefeated. San Antonio and Charlotte, that's 2 undefeated teams. So one of them is going to be gone, no matter what the net rating is. So what you're hoping for there is you probably want Charlotte, in my opinion, to win. But if Charlotte's not going to win, you want it to be a close game. You want it to be a close game. So I do think the Kings will sneak by into this 4-man tournament. And as for the way it works, you can kind of see here, they'll be slotted into semifinal games, and then the winners of those go on to the championship game. There is a consolation game as well. So there you go. Here's how they determine the tiebreak. If the teams played head to head, I don't think I got to look at that. I'm not sure if the Kings played any of them. I don't think they did, actually. So it will be point differential. Your Kings right now, 11.5. That's their point differential. That is their point differential. So anyways, other things I want to get to. Adam Silver spoke yesterday to the media about the Board of Governors meeting. The 2 big topics, expansion and gambling. You have 2 players right now that are under investigation in Malik Beasley and Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier actually on the federal side for gambling, and it's becoming a bigger and bigger issue within the sport when it comes to players and threats and DMs and just not feeling safe. A lot of hate players are getting since these leagues have started taking the gambling revenue, ad revenue. So we'll get into that. Expansion seems like it's still going to be a little bit of a ways off, unfortunately. Scott Perry sat down with Sean Cunningham. We've got some audio from that as well. And Shaquille O'Neal, he laid the business down on RG3. We've got that audio as well. RG3 just needs to go away. He's saying ridiculous things to try and stay relevant. Seems like he's going to the Draymond Green School of Broadcasting. 2 students enrolled. One's a student teacher. Anyways, you get it. What's up? Let's get into it. Let's get to your comments. Were you watching the game? The Kings, I can't believe they gave up that many offensive rebounds and still won. That's incredible. That's silly. That's a lot of offensive rebounds, but they still get it done. One of the guys for Cleveland, he was absolutely on fire. Incredible game for him. So, all right, let's get to the chat. Richard, is this the last game? Hopefully not. Jerry was here yesterday. You can check it out on replay or go to Spotify and Apple or Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. Let's see. Tristan, 4-0. We did it. Hang the banner. What's the parade? Yeah, Tristan, we still got a couple more to go. Hopefully you have 2 more games. That's what you're hoping for. Grant is flying out for the trial. You know, now with today's digital capabilities, we can probably zoom him in, but I'm not sure that we even need Grant to testify, you know, because it's on video. I mean, unless Dennis can make some type of argument that live video was altered in some way, or maybe that wasn't Dennis, it was somebody else calling in as Dennis, then, you know, it's going to be a tough road for him. I'm not sure. Not sure that we will hold that trial. But I do have to say, it was all I could think of when I'm hearing this.
Grant! Dennis, stop
Grant!
for a minute. I didn't say anything bad about you, Dennis.
I love you, Grant.
When he goes, Grant,
the meatloaf! We want it now! The meatloaf!
I love you, Grant. Oh, it's all in good fun, Dennis. Peter Summerlee, Kings were out rebounded. It was crazy, insane. They gave up 20 offensive rebounds through 3 quarters. That's nuts. Dennis the Menace, yes. Dennis went off the deep end. Maybe he went and hit the Bennett's happy hour, 2 to 6 o'clock. They do have 60 different wines by the glass. Hopefully he had a driver. You don't know. Maybe it wasn't Dennis at all. I know other shows where people call as other people. So I don't know. Maybe we got to hear from him. I mean, is Dennis even okay right now? What's up, Flores? Kings rookies looking good against summer league players. Yeah. I was very glad to see that the Kings started. And you know what? As for the rebounds, I was glad the Kings started a double big lineup. If you were watching the game, ESPN had it wrong. They had Mason Jones in the starting lineup. He sat out today, but Isaiah Crawford started for him. And so it was even a little bit more surprising that they had the double big lineup. And to be honest, it seemed like a little bit more of the guards were crashing. There's more space out there on the floor. And the three-point shooting, too, was not good today. The three-point shooting was very bad, especially in the first half, which makes for longer rebounds, and that can play into it. But the Kings certainly cannot get into the Final Four and give up that many offensive rebounds. Not going to happen. I think Grant banned him from the show or the channel. He can't call anymore. No, see, okay, Tristan, that's what was incredible to me. Because, again, since it got my attention – and I was kind of processing through it, I was hanging out and kind of watching. And by the way, Rabanese, dude, I need to know. Good to hear from you first. Great conversation with Grant last night. But I need to know how your marathon went, man. You shaved those beautiful locks to train for that marathon. I was hoping to get that answer last night. Maybe he'll call in tonight. But Dennis was still chatting. So I guess he still has access. He might need to make a burner. He can just name it Dennis's burner. What's Jim Rome say? You can't call this show anymore, but you can call if you get a different number. There you go. Dennis, do something along those lines. If that's what happened. If you don't like that with Grant Napier, I thought at Haunted Horse was your producer. Oh, this thing would be off the rails. Do you think this show would look this clean if Haunted Horse was the producer around here? There's no way. You'd have things flashing everywhere, videos that you don't really want to see, these video drops popping up, dropping his fat drop like 90 times a show. Yeah, and here's the man right here. He's on strike for money and vacation days. Come on, man. You know you're an independent contractor. What's up, Joe? Good to see you, man. All good. Happy you're back. Welcome back. Jump in on the show. Would love to see you around here some more. Agree, he's a good playmaker. Yeah, he's special. He is a very good player. So you got to give Scott Perry credit. Remember, the Kings did not have a first-round pick. And this is where, if you go all the way back to draft day, when and you actually go back to last year's draft as well, once you got outside of the top 6 or the top 5 in this draft, no, it was top 6 because Bailey went 6 to Utah. Once you got out of that, for the second year in the row, the draft was very, very subjective because of the talent that's in it, because of the transfer portal, because of guys overseas. It becomes subjective where teams, if that player's on the board that's still best available, like head and shoulders best available above everybody else, maybe you change your strategy. But because there's not really a definitive on, this guy really should be the next one. Like, there's no debating this guy's going to be in the NBA for 10 years. If there's not one of those, teams are going to go with the guy that they, one, need the most, and two, think fits best into their culture and think that they can develop better than the next team. And Nique Clifford, I mean, you didn't need another guard, but if I'm being kind of honest with you, I've got to say, was Monty McNair looking for something like Nique Clifford when he drafted Devin Carter last year? Was that what Monty was thinking? You got to give Scott Perry a lot of credit with that one for getting back into the second round. And you can directly tie Nique Clifford now to the De'Aaron Fox trade, because two of those, the first round pick, which likely will end up being 2 second-round picks, you use that and you get Nique. So let's go to the phones. My man, Mac. What's up, Mac?
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm okay. Baby's asleep right next to me, so I'm kind of talking low.
Keep it down.
Hey, I just wanted to comment that the All-Star game, the ending, that was super cool. Probably the best thing that Rob Manfred's done for baseball. With the home run hit off. I really, really liked that. One other thing, and I just kind of a question for you, is I think you would agree, and I think a lot of us would agree, that the players that come in from that have more experience from college come in more polished, more ready, and usually aren't. I don't want to say bust, but they have maybe. What am I trying to say? Maybe more. There's like I don't know. They seem more confident when facing adversity. Why doesn't the NBA do like hockey, where they could draft the kids and then allow them to go to college? Because it would seem very good to do that for some players for developmental reasonings, and in some instances in hockey, they even encourage them to go to college and be developed. Wouldn't that be good for their prospects to not just jump in at 19, 18 when they're not? Because I feel like these kids, they go 1 year and then they come in and they're still 19 and their bodies aren't ready. And they face a lot of scrutiny. And sometimes that really hurts their confidence. What are your thoughts?
It's a good question. I think the NBA already gives guys a route to develop for a year within that system with the G League or the G League Unite. I think it would be too messy, and college would never go for that. It just wouldn't. It'd be how do the colleges and the team collaborate in terms of a player and injuries, training, etc. I just think it's already messy enough with athletes coming in with their own trainers and the conflict that occurs between their trainers and what the team trainers want them to do. I think it'd be a big ask, buddy.
No, I can see that point of view. I thought the only thing that I would think that the colleges would like is I would argue, since players started doing one and done and leaving programs, it might bring more excitement to college basketball, because you could get to know the players a little bit longer. I mean, I know growing up in the 90s, college basketball I felt was more popular, and it was exciting because you could see players play more than 1 year at a program. And I don't know. I really, or I mean, look at guys who were college stars and went into the NBA. Like, I think, like Patrick Ewing, people would follow that. That's the only thing that make me feel that maybe that would be beneficial to college basketball, is you could start getting players that would have notoriety, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. I thought Manfred, I want to go back to the baseball game. I didn't watch a second of it. But I did hear that the guys were back in their team uniforms. I thought that made all the sense in the world.
So much better than the softball uniforms they wore.
Let them wear them for home run derby. All the guys are on the field anyways. If they're not competing, that's where they wear them.
Right, and that way, and then you could still sell the product and whatnot. Yeah, no, it looked a lot. It looked a lot better. They didn't look goofy, but the way that they decided to, because they didn't want to go into extra innings, It was. Did you hear what happened?
Yeah, it's a home run.
That was pretty cool. The
It
only thing I change is you could allow somebody kind of like in high school, you could allow a starter to re-enter for the home run derby. So for example, could you imagine like Otani and Judge being in there? That would be so for the final swing off or whatever they called it. That would have been really cool to allow them to re-enter, if that
Yeah,
makes
that's a
sense.
good, it's a good idea. It's what they do with soccer and PKs. That should, I think that's where they took the idea from.
Oh,
Just tweak it, do the same
mm-hmm.
kind of thing. I'm with you.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. Have a great afternoon. Take
All
it
right,
easy.
buddy. Good job, Mac.
Bye-bye.
Anybody want to challenge Mac? He's the best caller right now on this show.
Volunteers, not hostages.
He's a volunteer.
Volunteers,
I don't want hostages.
No doubt.
Like Scott Perry. Anyways, hey Peter, I think we are not on the same page. Because I'm looking at what the NBA says. The top 4 teams. Oh, you're gonna hear about Bennett's later. I'm gonna give you a walkthrough of the website. But straight from the NBA website, it's the top 4 teams that advance to the semis. Everybody else, the 26 others, they play an extra game. So there is a consolation round as well for the losers, I think, of the semis. But yeah, it's only the top 4. That's why of the top 8 right now that are undefeated, it's going to be the 4 that have the best point differential. So the Kings, 11.5 right now as we speak. Coming into play, these were the other differentials: 17, 16.7, 15, and then the Kings at 12.7. So Minnesota, I believe, is playing right now. 2 of the teams are going to be going head to head: San Antonio and Charlotte. So you can knock one of those 2 out. You would hope that Charlotte wins that game. And if they don't win it, you hope it's a close game, because that's going to bring OKC's net rating down as well. So anyways, if I'm wrong, let me know, Peter. I mean, you're the statistician, front office guy here in the King's Court. You're the one that I rely on for that stuff. So I will hand that off to you. What's up, DC? Think the rookies can make a big enough impact to help change the roster at the trade deadline? No. I think the rookie, I think Nique Clifford will make enough of an impact that you'll probably feel better about parting with one of the guards, one of the combo guards, if you absolutely need to. Keon Ellis excluded. I think you got to keep Keon here. But if you were going to move on from a Devin Carter, I still don't like the idea of moving on from Malik Monk. At least now, I think it's a little more palatable, because I just don't see how Nique's game and that smoothness is going to change. I mean, look at Devin Carter. I mean, Devin Carter has played well for the most part, other than the first game, and he's being tasked with something he's never done his entire career, which is play point guard. But Devin Carter today had 4 turnovers in this one. Looking at his line, he gives you 11 points, 4 turnovers, and 6 assists. Not bad. Shooting 3 of 9. I mean, Nique, and to be fair, Nique and Devin, I don't know the ages, but they're probably right about the same age, because Devin came out after his 3rd year. Nique might be a year older than Devin. So, but yeah, at the trade deadline, not a significant, not a big enough impact to where you're going to move any pieces that are large, unless something's out there for the Kings that they can't turn on. And I guess the other question is, and I think Jerry brought this up yesterday when we were talking about Max, he really likes Max at the 4. And when I thought about that more, I tend to agree with him, because I really like a lineup, and this is as Max continues to develop. But think about maybe a year from now, 2 years from now, assuming Keegan Murray stays here, you could have a front line. You could finally get Keegan Murray back into the 3 spot. And if Max continues progressing, you can put him at the 4, and then you have Domas at the 5. That is a strong front line. And I think that's a front line that helps Domas a lot because Max can stretch the floor, or at least he's shown to this point in Summer League. He can stretch the floor. He didn't have a particularly great game today, but he's coming off the wrist thing. He was 3 of 6 from the field. Not terrible. That's what I'm looking at with Max, which gets to the bigger question. Who's your backup center? Because Jerry and I both said, yeah, I guess he's kind of circled in right now by Scott Perry as the backup center. It's not going to be Isaac Jones. I've been sitting here saying, well, IJ probably needs to be able to play 7 to 10 minutes for the Kings to, at least have a little bit of success next year. And they are fully trying to transition IJ to a 4. And you can see with the 3 ball, it is still a very big work in progress. IJ does his best work around the rim. So if they're going to be asking him to play 4, that's going to take some time. And he's a part of the roster. He has a guaranteed deal. He's not a two-way guy. Dom Dog is back. What's up? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Yeah, Vivek would hang a Summer League banner. Did you guys see Vivek's new haircut? Guys and gals. He's keeping it tight. He went short. I have not checked Instagram lately to see if there's any new Vivek stories about his life and success. We should probably do that. I mean, you guys really liked those, I thought. Those were really inspirational, no? Maybe? Kinda? I mean, is this the last time Vivek's been in front of a crowd?
This is your team.
I'm serious. He is not. When was the last time Vivek was in front of a microphone? I mean, the last time I think publicly, it was when he said play ball with the A's. Isn't that the last time? I mean, he can be on the bench. He can be on the court watching games, but he doesn't give anybody access. Interesting. We already hit that. Love the questions. We've got a ton of content for you today. And again, we will be back, Grant and I, 7 o'clock tonight. So circle that in. We'd love to have you join us. King should have started JV and Domas. Yeah. I thought that was one of the areas that Doug Christie just could not figure out. And in fact, I would say that Doug Christie, he couldn't find a place, actually, for V. When Sabonis got hurt, actually, the only reason that the Kings even limped into the play-in was because of the way Valanciunas stepped in when Sabonis got hurt. The Kings didn't really miss a beat, and V played really good, but when Sabonis came back, V was barely playing. There was games like 4 minutes, 5 minutes. I think the play-in game, he was like 7 minutes, like 7, 8, or 9 minutes. So coming into this training camp, I was specifically, that was like on my top 3. How is Doug Christie going to find a way to play those guys together? But now we don't have to worry about it. By the way, V's going to be staying in Denver. He was worried about a year that was not fully guaranteed, his second year of his contract. So he will be here. Would like for Angeli, or I'd like Angeli. Oh, you'd like to thank Angeli. Got you. I see where you were trying to go, Justin. Can pick you up there, buddy. I got you. Yeah. How Vivek thanked Angeli for the G League championship. Come on. What are we doing here? Andre, how you doing? That's what the G League is for. All right. Love the conversations within you guys. Staying in college for 2 years, max minimum would help college basketball, but that's hard to do or approve. I completely agree, or I completely disagree now, Dom. I would have agreed with you before the transfer portal. You're my dog. I would have agreed with you, but now with the transfer portal, it doesn't make sense. because guys are leaving schools every year. I agree with you if it's a guy that stays at the same school for at least 2 years. You got to think the NCAA or maybe the conferences are going to come together at this point and just overthrow the NCAA because they have all the power. You've got to think the conferences are going to want to tighten up this transfer portal thing. It's not sustainable. It's not. And I actually have a good question for everybody. What do you call a college player now? It's not a student athlete. Like, what do you call them? Curious. Nique with another good game. Yes, he had a very good game. Nique and Reno are nice consistently, but Carter offense struggles here and there. You know, Devin's had his flashes offensively. The Kings, as a team this summer or in the 4 games, have done a really good job getting deflections. Devin has been the beneficiary of a lot of those deflections where he's been able to grab them and turn them into steals into the stat sheet. Peter talking some baseball. Baseball should have had a skills competition like the NBA. Base running, fielding from the infield, outfield. Oh my gosh, man. Don't get me started. Well played by you, Peter. You know, you get the good question from Jerry Reynolds.
That's a great question.
The NBA skills competition is the dumbest thing ever. If you've been with the show long enough, you know what I'm going to say. These are the top 1%ers of 1%ers. Let me see the skills that you don't see during a game. Let me see the skills that aren't fundamental to being a basketball player, that are dribbling, passing, and shooting. Show me some crazy trick shots. Show me like something different. But when you have Chris Paul and Wemby coming together to try to find a way around that, I thought that was pretty good. Losing Monk would be hard if the Kings are rebuilding. Monk is gone. I don't agree with that. He's not gone if the Kings are rebuilding. His contract's friendly. You should be in no. To me, Malik Monk still very much is in that asset side of the column when you look at the play versus the contract. I do worry about this with Malik. My worry with Malik is he's not finished the last 2 seasons playing. He's been hurt at the end of each season. So I hope that gets a little bit better. I mean, clearly, that's where when the Kings lost Malik Monk at the end of last year, that's when, Domas, the biggest thing we need is a point guard. That's when it rang through the entire building, even Vivek's ears. We need a point guard because the Kings couldn't create any shots. The only thing they could do is have DeMar DeRozan bring the ball up the court and go into ISO, which they did in the play-in game. DeMar had a good game. But that's why until this summer, and even with the signing of Schroeder, I'm still in the middle right now with that. I'm not in love with the money for what you're getting. I'm not in love with the idea that the Kings were targeting him as their number 1 guy in free agency, but I understand maybe Scott Perry was being realistic about the type of player or the type of point guard that would want to come to Sacramento. You're going to pay the Sacramento premium. Schroeder, the consistency, that's what I worry about. That's what I worry about. Sometimes he's a little bit more shoot first rather than run the offense. He is a little feisty. He can be a shitbird, as Jerry Reynolds calls it, at times. But now with Schroeder there, now seeing Nique can kind of share it. DeMar can share it. Domas certainly can share it. I'm feeling a little bit better, but I don't like trading Malik Monk. If it makes the team better, then you have to do it, like Jerry said. But I still think this is where Malik should be. In fact, we've got the audio, Sean Cunningham talking with Scott Perry. Sat down for an interview with him, and he's asked about Malik because I do know that Malik was assured before the start of free agency that he was not going to be moved. So that very well could have changed, but he hasn't been moved yet. And here's the other shoe that needs to drop. I think you have a few teams that are, especially the Warriors, they're waiting to execute these signs and trades with different guys. They're waiting for that. So once that shoe drops, I think that is when free agency starts to kind of wrap up. And yeah, you could have a huge trade like you had last year right before training camps open up. But this is when the conversations, the Kuminga conversations, some of the other guys in similar positions in the Eastern Conference, sign and trade guys, this is when those conversations are happening right now because everybody's in Vegas. This is the NBA's, like, for whatever you do in your worlds for work, if you think about like the biggest convention for your trade, this is that for the NBA right now in Vegas. It's where everybody comes out. BJ was just there. He knows that. Who is more overrated, Bradley, Rob the Suns Beal, or Zach low IQ Levine? Damn, you're going to put me in a tough spot there, Andre. You know, when Bradley was healthy, he wasn't playing terrible for the Suns, and he was willing to go to the six-man role. Yes, for those that do not know, Bradley Beal was bought out by the Suns, and all indications seem to have the Clippers as the favorite to land him. Which brings up a good question. Hey, Peter, do me a favor. The Clippers, were they in the luxury tax? I'm pretty sure they were. In fact, I'm almost 99% sure the Clippers were in the luxury tax. And I wonder if the apron, maybe that apron only affected them for last season about not being able to sign guys that are bought out over the MLE. Because we're in a new league. We're in a new operating year for the league. So the Clippers to sign him, you'd have to look at their apron situation. Maybe they're just saying, you know what, screw it. We're not worried about it. We'll pay the tax. But that is actually a very good question. The Maloofs are pretty cool. I do like them. I heard some of Grant's stories last night. That the stories, what did Rab ask him about guys? You know, getting things at the Palms, etc. That was very interesting to me. That was very interesting. So he found a way. Anytime you are able to find a way to get something out of Grant that I have not known or learned or talked to him about, I'm impressed. So good job. Patrick in the house. Love it. Off the clock. Patrick, you're New York Knicks fans. They're happy. You're off the clock. How you guys still feeling about Mike Brown? No somehow, some ways yet? One time for Patrick.
New York Knicks run New York City!
Bing bong!
Tell me a little something, KD. Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks?
You know what's weird too? BJ, I don't know if you call them college athletes professional. Yeah. Here's the other thing. Like, they don't go to class. They just do online classes now. They don't go to class, most of them. So it is basketball and then a little bit of school. Clippers have a shot at the chip. I can't say that they do. James Harden, he's the most overrated, well, not going to say overrated, overpaid sixth man in the year. And yeah, they just re-upped him. He was first team NBA. But when it comes to the playoffs, dude shrinks. He's gone. Kawhi Leonard, he's good for maybe half the games, 41 a season. I love what the Clippers have done this offseason. They still could bring back Ben Simmons. But I just don't have any trust that once they get to the playoffs, it's going to be all there. They were very impressive at times during the regular season. When the playoffs roll around, it's a different story. Andre, I still have not forgot your question about Bradley Beal and Zach LaVine. We'll get to it in a few minutes, but I do want to get to some audio really quick. I want to talk about Adam Silver. And his responses after the Board of Governors meeting. We can continue talking Kings, by the way. We will. You got Grant and I, 7 o'clock tonight. You can call the show if you would like to. But a big topic as of late has been expansion. When is the NBA going to do it? Because Adam Silver had kind of laid out some different landmarks, some different goals. You know, once we get the new television deal into place, once we get the new CBA into place, then maybe we can start talking expansion. Well, both of those things have been put into place now, and everybody's kind of pushing on it. So, Adam, are we going to expand with the thinking? Most logical fans, no, Seattle would get a team, and probably Vegas. I'll tell you some more about Vegas on the other side, but Seattle for sure. So we're talking about Seattle getting a team back. Seattle deserves a team. They didn't deserve our team. Let's be clear about that. But they deserve NBA basketball. So Adam, after the Board of Governors meeting, was asked just about that, expansion. Not necessarily about what city should be getting a team, but where's the NBA stand with that right now? And remember, Adam at the All-Star game also was talking about the NBA Europe idea, creating a European NBA. So is that the priority over expansion? Here was Adam Silver's response about expansion yesterday.
Last topic I mentioned was expansion. That expansion was discussed both at a committee level and at the board, and ultimately the league office was tasked by our board with doing an in-depth analysis of all the issues around expansion, both economic and non-economic. Of course, the non-economic issues include dilution of talent, how it could potentially affect competition around the league if we were to expand, how you would stock those teams, all those related issues. The economic issues, as I've talked about before, they're as we knew would be the case in these discussions among the board. They're very complex because in how you would potentially value the opportunity has a lot to do with your projections on the future growth of the league, because you are selling equity, and if for every additional team you add, you're diluting the economics of the current league.
How's that make? What's your first thought hearing that? I'm curious. Diluting talent and then diluting the equity in the league. I think what we're really talking about here is the TV money, the national TV money. You would now have two teams that would be getting a cut of that. As far as diluting the talent, I don't quite know if I agree with that. I've heard both sides of the argument. I mean, you'd have an expansion draft. I don't know off the top of my head how it works when a new team comes into the league, how they're slotted in the regular draft. But what we're talking about is the owners not wanting to share the money. I know James Dolan has been vocal at times against expansion. Of course he would be. I bet Vivek would probably be against expansion as well, but it's inevitable. And as for adding two more teams, does that dilute? Do you think that dilutes the NBA product? I don't know that it does. I think about expansion in other leagues. It wasn't too many years into the Carolina Panthers getting their team to when they were in the Super Bowl. And that's a 53-man roster. I do think one of the wild cards here, though, is the regional television deals. This is going to get really weird really quick. because I look at what baseball does right now. If you go on MLB, what do they call it? Extra innings, whatever their league pass is. If you go on there, you can buy a package where it's basically your team, and I think it's just your team. You can pick your team, and it goes off of wherever your area is at based on your location. So you have to share your location. And the whole reason the NBA came back the COVID year was largely because they needed to get the minimum amount of games in for the regional contracts to be fulfilled. Had that not happened, the teams would have had to return that money to the people or the networks with the rights. And we are closer. I would say we are closer than we have ever been to having to pay to watch the Kings, to watch every game here in Sacramento. We've seen regional television networks, conglomerates go down. The Padres were a part of that, where they had to start being on MLB TV. So I think it's inevitable that we're going to start paying to see all 82 for the Kings. Pay to watch, subscription. I remember the days where you would only get like a Channel 31 game. You maybe get like 2 of them a week for the Kings, and you had to tune into Sports Center to see the highlights. If you didn't have that, and I know a lot of the cell phone carriers, they provide, free league pass if you have their service, whatnot. But because regional TV is so up in the air for the NBA, and then you talk about the whole digital side of it and how they're trying to flip streaming on its head. They want to change the game. The NBA is a brand. It's not a sport. As Adam Silver says, they do need to get that figured out. As for the teams and expansion, I already said what I said about Seattle. I definitely think Vegas would be the second team. I've actually heard that they would maybe build a different, a NBA exclusive arena in Vegas, which would mean the Golden Knights would have their own place, the Aces would have their own place, the NBA team would have their own place. And what about that Oakland A's team? Maybe that plot of land where John Fisher has been renting equipment just for the visual, like they're breaking ground. Maybe that's where it goes. But I just feel like expansion's a little bit further off than we think. I think the NBA Europe project is a little bit more of a priority for the NBA. And then I could go into all of my concerns when it comes to a European NBA. What if the European NBA is a better product? What if it's better basketball to watch? Dom Dog, Seattle and East team, or Seattle and Vegas, and move a West team to the East for the NBA expansion. I think the Kings. I think the NBA does need to look at the Eastern and the Western conferences. I probably, with you would have a West team go East. Now, whether that's a benefit for them or not, like if the Thunder went East, that's benefit for the Kings. It's a benefit for the West. But probably along those lines, I would like to see, with the way that travel is for the teams now, they've got their own private jets. And when you get to the playoffs, the amount of time in between the games, Jerry Reynolds came on 4 weeks ago, and he said he would like the NBA to go back to the best of 5 series all the way up until the NBA Finals. And I'm like, that's interesting. And so we dug into it, and then we talked about the NBA taking the best 16 teams, no matter where. You might have 10 from the East and 6 from the West. Best 16 teams by the records. And if you think about that, that isn't really that big of a deal. Everybody's going to yell travel, travel, travel. But these teams Yeah, good. You're right, Andre. Memphis, Torsia said that as well. Minnesota, sure. I mean, we could point out a handful of them. But the travel would not be a big deal. Going east to west, west to east, because the games are spaced out so much longer. Because you would be, if it was a best of 5, you're going 2-2-1. You're not going 2-2-1-1-1. So I kind of like that. I would like to see if the NBA ended up expanding. That's what I would like to see. And what do you do about the playoffs then? If you expand, do you add 2 more spots? You can't add 1 more spot unless you're giving somebody. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. So, anyways, that's Adam Silver on an expansion. What I thought was more interesting was his response about gambling, something we've talked about a lot on this show. I don't have anything against people that get down as long as you are not, betting the money that should be feeding your kids or paying your mortgage. Lose what you can lose. As long as you're doing it with that mindset, I'm all good with it. What I'm starting to get a little, I don't know, a little raspy, a little edgy on is the amount of money these leagues are making off of the sponsorships from gambling businesses, whether it's Prize Picks, whether it is DraftKings, BetESPN, et cetera, et cetera. In fact, I did a AI search via Grok, and the NBA's annual revenue from gambling advertising specifically is not isolated in most sources, but broader insights into gambling-related revenue provide context. According to a 2024 American Gambling Association study, the NBA is projected to earn $585 million annually from legal sports betting, with $160 million of that coming from gambling related sources such as advertising sponsorships and data deals. That's a lot of money. So I get that the players get their cut of the revenue, but some cuts are different than others. And this is a cut that I think is a little bit different. I'll explain to you on the other side. I also thought Adam Silver's response was really interesting too. Here was him on gambling yesterday.
We do not have control over the specific bets that are made on our game. I do think some of the bets are problematic. And we, the league, wish that we had more control legislatively over how our intellectual property is used in these betting companies. We are not a party to those bets. It's not nationalized. You have state by state, creating a legalized framework and then entering into partnerships with betting companies. And that's what sets the terms of engagement.
Did that hit anybody else a little bit weird? I'm going to play that one more time. We'll take the money, but we want to control what you can gamble on within our sport. That's what I took away from it. Here's Adam again.
We do not have control over the specific bets that are made on our game. I do think some of the bets are problematic. And we, the league, wish that we had more control legislatively over how our intellectual property is used in these betting companies. We are not a party to those bets. It's not nationalized. You have state by state, creating a legalized framework and then entering into partnerships with betting companies. And that's what sets the terms of engagement.
So what Adam's talking about is the prop bets. The prop bets are the problem. You look at anybody that's got caught up in a scandal so far in the last 3 years with the NBA, it's, he's going to have under this many rebounds. He's going to have under this many threes. It's that kind of stuff. You don't hear so much about guys throwing games just off the point spread. That's like going all the way back to Donahue, right? But you can't have it both ways. What are you going to, if you want some type of legislative power over what can be betted on and what can't be bet on, then you can't be in bed with the companies taking their advertising money. The NBA doesn't get any money from people that lay down bets, but the NBA gets money from the people who take those bets. Some NBA arenas literally have sponsored DraftKings sportbooks in the arena, in-game betting, where it's changing based off of every basket. By the way, I should probably get this in for you. Minnesota at last check was losing. If Minnesota loses, and it looks like, did they? I think they lost. No, they came back 89-85. So Minnesota, who's one of the 8 undefeateds, their margin of victory was 4. They were below the Kings in margin of victory. Let's go here. Minnesota. Okay, so the Kings have now 3 other teams. 3 other teams that either need to lose or the Kings need to have a better net rating. This number right here in the right-hand column, I'll put that down. Put me down so you can see that. So Minnesota has been eliminated despite their win today. They have been eliminated from the Final Four in Vegas. So the Kings, 1 spot closer. Only the top 4 move on to the semifinals. You also are going to have either the San Antonio Spurs or the Charlotte Hornets eliminated. So the Kings can cross one of those 2 teams off of the list as well. So you need Atlanta, LA, Toronto, and Oklahoma City. You need those teams to lose. And what you would hope for if San Antonio wins against Charlotte, what you're hoping for is it's a very close game. So this 16.7 number comes down. Sacramento's number is not updated in this graphic. After today's win, their net rating is 11.5. 11.5. But now that I'm thinking about it, is Minnesota is going to go up. Minnesota won by 4. It shouldn't bring it up a whole point. Peter Anderson, I'm going to start paying Peter. Peter, can you dig into the numbers there? I don't think it's going to come up a whole point off of a 4-point victory. Looks like Minnesota probably is eliminated. And remember, either San Antonio or Charlotte will be eliminated because they play tomorrow head-to-head. And Steph Castle, he is done for the rest of Summer League. So I'll try to do that math in between drops and as we continue through the show. But back to gambling. You can't have it both ways. You either can't take the money or you can't legislate. Just can't do it. And if you're going to take the money, I would bet here in the next, when the NBA comes up for their next collective bargaining agreement, which this one is only in year 2, meaning I believe you have 5 more seasons of it. When they start negotiating the next one, my guess is the players are going 9.5. Okay, so the Kings are all good. 11.5 wins out. So the Kings have Minnesota eliminated. Either you need 2 teams out of the 4 that we talked about a second ago. So let me put that back up. The way it works in the Summer League is it is the top 4 teams. Obviously, you're going to have more than 4 teams that end up undefeated. But with Minnesota's win today, their net rating goes down to 9.5. 9.5. The Kings are at 11.5. So Minnesota's gone. You're going to have either, good job, Peter, by you. You're either going to have Charlotte or San Antonio with a loss tomorrow because they go head to head. If San Antonio wins, you're hoping it's in a close game. So that number comes down. Oklahoma City, they're up there as well with the number in Toronto. They have the best net rating in the Summer League right now. The rest of the games today that matter to the Kings are going to be New Orleans and Oklahoma City. That tips off at 6:30. That is on NBA TV. So you're going to want to keep your eyes on that one. And then tomorrow, Atlanta in Memphis. Atlanta in Memphis. And the Clippers in Boston. We already know San Antonio or Charlotte is going to have a loss. So tomorrow, Clippers in Boston, Atlanta in Memphis. Those are the 2 games. We will have, if Oklahoma City loses today, then that makes it really easy. If Oklahoma City wins in a close game, that could help things out. But it's not, you know what? It's really fairly easy math. I'm surprised 8 teams are undefeated. Usually you don't have 8 teams. That's cool. Dallas would be good next year. Spurs have, the Spurs are going to be ridiculous. We already know that. Okay, so the Kings are sitting in pretty good shape right now. They're sitting in good shape. They should, I believe they will be into the Final Four, which would be a game on the 19th. Not sure who it would be against. And then if they won, they would play on the 20th for the Summer League Championship. I don't know if you've been watching more games than just the Kings, but they keep showing off these Summer League Championship rings. It's really funny. Adam Silver, though, you can't have it both ways. And when the CBA comes back up for negotiation, if I'm the players, and by the way, Fred VanVleet was just voted in as the new player president for the Players Association, I am going to ask for a higher cut of the gambling revenue. That's what I'm going to push for. Yeah, I know we get 40% of league revenue. I want 60% of the gambling revenue. We're going to separate that one because we're the ones that have to deal with all the BS. We are the ones that are getting death threats. We are the ones that are constantly being harassed. The NBA is going to say, well, get off social media. I can't get off social media. I have deals with Nique. I have deals with my local Ford dealership. I have deals with Sprite where I need to tweet out these different things. So I have to be there. Even if you put layers, which I know a lot of guys have, they have layers between them and the actual keyboard and people filtering through it. When alarming things come through, it still is going to come back to them, and it's definitely going to get reported to the leagues. And this goes across, it's not an NBA problem. This is a cross sports problem. There was a baseball player that had to put his family in hiding like 6 weeks ago because of death threats over gambling, because he didn't get enough strikeouts. And some knucklehead bet his life savings on this guy getting the over on the strikeouts. What I'm saying is the juice isn't worth the squeeze for the players. The players hate it. You're seeing more and more and more reports come out from The Athletic, from other publications about how much the landscape has changed with the amount of hate and threats these guys get since gambling has been literally Adam Silver, your league, Roger Goodell, your league, Rob Manfred, your league. Y'all are taking gasoline and pouring it on the gambling fire because there's like those universal reasons to go. I know Jim Rome talks about these. Mess with a member of your family, reason to go. Kick my dog, reason to go. Mess with my money, a reason to go. But some of these people see it a little bit different than you and I. If I'm gambling, I'm putting my money at risk. It's an addiction. It's no different than any other addiction. And these guys are making hand over fist money on it. They're taking the money. So when Adam Silver says, well, you know, we want the money, this is what he's saying. We want the money, but we want more control. So we can regulate problems within our sport on what can be gambled on and what can't be. You can't do that.
We do not have control over the specific bets that are made on our game. I do think some of the bets are problematic. And we, the league, wish that we had more control legislatively over how our intellectual property is used in these betting companies. We are not a party to those bets. It's not nationalized. You have state by state, creating a legalized framework and then entering into partnerships with betting companies. And that's what sets the terms of engagement.
So there you go. And again, you have you already had Jonte Porter. Now you have Terry Rozier still under federal investigation. And now you have Malik Beasley. And it's all over, again, these props. These different books are coming back to the league and saying, dude, that prop line just swung like 2 rebounds because we got $300,000 on the under. Who puts $300,000? And I'm making that number up, but it's been big numbers on very obscure props that don't usually bring in big bets. So each way you cut it, the NBA is going to have to find a way to protect their players a little bit better from what they're getting currently when they're just going out there and doing what they're being paid to do. Have you ever approached an athlete or go look online about people that approach athletes and like, dude, you caused me to lose my fantasy football league. Like, what the hell? Go see how many S's they give. They don't give very many. They're just going out there and playing. It's what they're paid to do. They're not paid to make sure you get paid on your 5-way parlay. It's not their concern. But then people take it a step too far. So I would be, if the NBA is going to continue taking the money, I'm Fred VanVleet. I'm saying, great, give us 60% of that revenue specifically. That's still a lot of money, Adam, that you guys are getting. $585 million from legal sports betting. It's a lot of money. It's a reason why every time you turn on the TV or you're watching a game, there's some type of live line ticking below you. And I agree with you. Here in California, they are actually looking to, there are certain sites in California that have gotten around it. There's a bill right now in the legislature to take that away. So if you use that site may no longer be here by the end of the summer, depending on how that shakes out. So anyways, we are with you here on a Wednesday. Happy to be with you. Got Grant coming back tonight, 7 o'clock. In fact, it'll be the first time Grant and I are getting together in a minute. So join us at 7. We'll be talking about the Kings so far. what they've done in Summer League. If you're just joining us, Kings won earlier today to go 4-0 and basically do as much as they can to hopefully get into that semifinals and finals. Top 4 teams in Summer League make it to the quote-unquote playoffs, but the Kings win 94-86 despite the fact that they gave up 23 offensive rebounds. 23 offensive rebounds and 15 turnovers. They still win by 8 points. How about that? So join us. We'll be here for it, and we'll be having a good old time. We're still deciding whether or not we need to have a trial for one of our fellow Kings quarters here after last night. I'm leaving that in the hands of many of you. 5-way parlay. Yeah. It's just what came to mind. I don't know. Dom Dog. Haunted Horse is addicted to Sweden's bathwater. You know what? I got to take some ownership. That's on me. It's completely on me.
I didn't know there were 2 holes. I thought it was just the one.
It's my fault that he even knows who that is. This whole thing started with him and Sydney Sweeney because I was talking about the Paul Skeens card, that 1 of 1 that 14-year-old or 13-year-old pulled in Los Angeles. And the debate is, do you hold on to it or do you sell it? And she offered the kid a night at the game when Paul's pitching and could be in the suite together. And that's when he looked her up. So you are the King's Court. So you are saying trial. I've not seen him yet today. I have not, usually my phone is blowing up with direct messages. I haven't gotten a single one. Maybe he is punishing himself. I mean, that was weird last night. I'm not going to rehash the cussing part of it. But my man, Dennis, last night.
Nobody's going to be a moron when they love this team, is what I'm saying.
Nobody's going to be a moron when we love this team. Okay. That's what he's saying. And then he was screaming at Nate.
Dennis, stop
Grant!
for a minute. I didn't say anything bad about you, Dennis.
I love you, Grant.
The meatloaf! We want it now! The meatloaf!
Oh, Dennis. Oh, Dennis. Remember, that's the same Dennis that went to Stockton with me for a playoff game. Remember when I told you Dennis didn't realize what side of the court we were sitting on? We even had to have Kevin John, one of the justices here in the King's Court, verify that Dennis had a good night that night. I think the players hate it when fans are talking about fantasy football. I bet betting is a lot worse. It is. You had some New York Knicks. I forget who it was. I want to say it was Jalen Brunson who came out and really talked about it. You know what really spooked things and changed things was that CEO shooting, the United Healthcare CEO shooting. Now, completely different reasons and sets of facts. But when you're reading these threats, if you're getting those threats, and in today's day and age, it's not hard to find information on people. You can find it online. If you knew my last name, you could probably find my cell phone number online. If you knew my last name, you could probably find my address. You could go search me on unclaimed property. Go put your favorite celebrity into unclaimed property here in California and see if anything pops up. It'll probably have one of their addresses attached to it. I'm not saying that to spread the word. You can find out information on people. I'm saying that to tell you there is very simple ways that people that are not thinking logically can find you. Okay. So if you're an NBA player, an NFL player, and you're seeing that stuff on a daily basis, they're not just saying your family, they're using the names of your kids. And then you see that shooting that happened where that's a CEO of a company, one of the biggest companies here in the United States. And they were able to get that close with him having no clue. That's when shit becomes real. And I think that really was kind of the tinder that sparked some of these players to speak up. They can now, and think about how sad this is that we're sitting here saying, like, this could really happen. Realistically, that could happen. Like, it wouldn't be outrageous if you woke up tomorrow and read on ESPN.com that your favorite athlete was gunned down and motive so far appears to be gambling. Where are you on a shocked level? I can tell you I'm probably at a 4. I'm being serious, and I hope none of this happens. But gambling's that big. We're talking about money. The people that have the money to lose aren't the problem. It's the people that don't have the money to lose that are the problem. Something's not working right upstairs. If you're choosing and you truly believe the best way for you to be able to make your money, to pay your bills, is gambling, outside of being like a bona fide professional poker player or something along those lines, but anything when it comes to sports gambling, you probably have a screw or two loose up in your head. And you know where I can completely draw the line, and I don't think anybody can argue with me about this, is gambling is nothing new. It's been going on for as long as sport has been going on. It just wasn't as accessible. What you had to go through to be able to gamble, if you were in a state that didn't allow it legally, like Nevada, which is closest to us, the things you had to go through to place a bet and the people you had to deal with were kind of the objection to placing the bet. Well, it's really not worth it. I don't want to, it's kind of shady, and what happens if I end up, making a bad decision? They're going to come after me. They're going to come after my family. You literally had to find a bookie. And that's what would turn you off to it. It's like, dude, that's way too much. That's way too deep to make a $20 bet. Now, all you got to do is just turn on your phone. It's everywhere. And for those that aren't old enough to gamble, they're doing it themselves with Venmo. They're bookies in high schools now. I ask you, like 15 years ago, how many times did we hear about athletes being threatened because an over-under got screwed up because of them? You didn't. Those gamblers aren't the problem. It's the new ones. Because the price to entry is completely free now. It wasn't before. And that's because of all the ads. That's because of how much the sports have now embraced it. Anybody, there is no anybody. If you are of age, you now qualify to gamble in states where it's allowed. That wasn't the case before. So anybody that wants to make the argument that it's always been that way, it hasn't. The threats, all that, the BS, the players, and social media was not around back then. Let's be clear about that. So I'll give you, we can argue that. That's different. You have more of a direct line to an athlete than you did before. It's not like when I was in elementary school. Like, you remember the book fairs? I used to love the book fairs. They came like once or twice a year. There was 2 books that I always had to have. The first book was whatever the newest Goosebumps was. And then the second book was the sports book that had addresses for all of your favorite athletes. It wasn't like their personal addresses. It was like P.O. boxes and whatnot. And you could send them fan mail. You could send them a letter. And more times than not, you would get like an autographed picture back, or, you know, a form letter that looks like they signed it. Maybe they really did sign it. I had to have those 2 things. That's how you had access to athletes. Now it's different. Social media plays into it, but with the amount of money and advertising and run that it gets, both on radio, TV, is there any sports podcast? And I don't want to be a hypocrite. If you go download the King's Court, you're probably going to hear a gambling ad. If you download it on Spotify, Apple, whatever it may be. So I'm not against gambling. I am just saying, if you're going to take the money, you got to put the proper precautions in place. And you certainly cannot talk about, well, we're going to take the money, but we're going to control what you can.
We do not have control.
You can't do that
over the specific bets that are made on our game. I do think some of the bets are problematic. And we, the league, wish that we had more control legislatively over how our intellectual property is used in these betting companies. We are not a party to those bets. It's not nationalized. You have state by state, creating a legalized framework and then entering into partnerships with betting companies. And that's what sets the terms of engagement.
No, it will not, because when Grant and I are on together, the caller is not able to hear his response. So it will be the normal way of calling. Yelling and blowing up the VP's kids at Disneyland. Nobody is untouchable. There you go. Did you see what YouTube Long Island audit did recently? The home of a Connecticut state trooper? No, did not. Wait, there's 2 holes? Yeah. According to Haunted Horse, I don't know what he was talking about. You're going to have to go to his show to find out.
I didn't know there were 2 holes. I thought it was just the one.
Yes, Kangaroo Court. He was drinking, indeed. Speaking actually of something that was fire, and I'm not going to get too much into it, but I'm tired of RG3's act. He has been attacking Angel Reese for the most part, but he has been saying some super ridiculous stuff over the last year and a half since he's gotten more into media. For those that don't know, Angel Reese is a Reebok athlete, and Shaq is basically her contact. And so whether you like Angel Reese or not, it's not important here. It's more about RG3. Like, RG3, some of the tweets that he's talking about inflaming issues here that are already inflamed, putting stuff out there that's over the top just to get views. Well, he keeps going at Angel Reese. And Shaq finally has had enough. Sacramento, the GM of the Sac State Hornets, check out how Shaq clapped back at RG3. I think this war's over.
Oh, speaking of man, RG3, tweet another monkey post about my girl Angel Reese and punch in your face, okay? It's enough. Like, I don't usually do stuff like this, but just stop it, bro. You got your job, you got your podcast, leave my Angel Reese alone. I'm the one calling her and telling her not to respond. Stop it. That's the last time, okay? Thank you. It's not real hate. If you look around what's going on in this real country, that's hate. This is sports. I'm not supposed to like you. It's a shame that all the stuff you did in your life, you're going to be remembered for your podcast. You're going to be remembered for your podcast. That should tell you you're not that great. I don't want to be remembered for Shaq's Bit podcast. I do not. Like, leave those girls alone. You already spoke on it. Let it go. So what? He hates us. So what? I hate you now for messing with her. Now what? Say something about me. But she's not going to respond because I'm the one calling her and be like, baby, keep it classy. Because she's not soft by any means. You're from the streets. But I'm like, you're beautiful. Don't indulge with these fools because he's a fool. You don't even have G14 classification to say that. I would respect it more if Lisa Leslie said it. Like, that's your category. Stay out of them people's category. Okay, you're sports, whatever you do, you talk about sports, but bro, you don't need to be going deep. Y'all can go deep. Y'all are females. Y'all understand what that's like. If he hates her, so what? Mind your business. Like, I don't mind you doing your job with anyone, but don't pick on that little girl. Because guess what? I'm her protector. Now pick on me. You pick on me, I'm gonna punch you in your face.
First off, Shaq's fist is probably as big as most of our faces, meaning he will probably break your face. There's fun Shaq, and then there's like, kind of crossing the line, but playing, the Sacramento Queens. There's inflaming Shaq, and then there's real Shaq, who's a lovable dude who does a lot of good in many communities, in most states around this country. For him to lay it out like that publicly, RG3, put your tail between your legs and walk away. Also, what is G14 classification?
I hate you now for messing with her. Now what? Say something about me. But she's not going to respond because I'm the one calling her and be like, baby, keep it classy. Because she's not soft by any means. You're from the streets. But I'm like, you're beautiful. Don't indulge with these fools because he's a fool. You don't even have G14 classification to say that. I would respect it more if Lisa Leslie said it. Like, that's your category. Stay out of them people's category. Okay, you're sports, whatever you do, you talk about sports, but bro, you don't need to be going deep. Y'all can go deep. Y'all are females. Y'all understand what that's like. If he hates her, so what? Mind your business. Like, I don't mind you doing your job with anyone, but don't pick on that little girl. Because guess what? I'm her protector. Now pick on me. You pick on me, I'm going to punch you in your face.
Walk away, RG3. Walk away, my man. Pissed off Shaq. I don't know what G14 classification is, but it sounds really cool, really nice, exclusive. Tell you what, you want a darn good exclusive and classy meal? Get to Bennett's Restaurants, prime cuts of seafood. Look at that. Oh, no, that's the poke salad. I wonder if the Cobb's going to come up, Adam. Horse. We're going to go back to that hill that you guys are going to die on. Anyways, Bennett's Restaurants, 3 in all here in the greater Sacramento area. Roseville, Rockland, Howe, and Fair Oaks, whichever one is most convenient for you. Go check them out. Incredible cuts of seafood and steak. Also, something that I remind you guys of all the time is their specials. Wine and Dine Monday, $65 for 2. You get 2 entrees and a bottle of wine for $65. Weekend brunch, 11 to 2 p.m. at all 3 locations. Prime rib on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Happy hour every day of the week, 2 to 6 o'clock. And Brian just rolled out the Taste of Summer menu. Check this out. 2 courses for $30, and you can add a dessert on for $5. I highly recommend you add the dessert on. So check this out. These are some new summer offerings that Bennett's has come out with. I can guarantee you everyone is off the chart. The chimichurri chicken, the toasted burrata salad. Oh, the burrata beef is bomb. Grilled salmon. And what's really cool is always check the website, because when there is good, fresh ingredients out that inspire Brian and the team, they roll out a seasonal menu, much like this. So if you were looking for an amazing meal, just elegant ambiance, and also something that's not going to break the bank, Bennett's is the place for you. Go to BennettRestaurants.com. You can make reservations right here on the website. You can buy gift cards. You can put in your orders to go. Bubbles and brunch, 2 entrees and a bottle of champagne, $49. Let's go all day. Big thanks to Brian and the entire team at Bennett's for sponsoring the King's Court today. Go check them out again, Bennett'sRestaurants.com. 3 locations here in the greater Sacramento area: Rockland, Roseville, Howe, and Fair Oaks. Did I just make you hungry? What Shaq always say? Are you not entertained? Are you not starving now? After that, love Bennett's.
Are you not entertained?
As a sponsor here on the show. I can, but Bennett's order in the chat. That would be an interesting feature. You know, I think that's funny, Peter. I'm looking at what we can do. We do have the ability to do live sales, but I don't know how it would get to Bennett's. That's the thing. That's the missing link. And by the way, we're going to keep upgrading the channel as we do each and every season. You've seen the evolution of it. So thank you to everybody for the support, the views, the likes. Please keep giving us a thumbs up. Do me a favor. If you're watching on YouTube or the X, give us a retweet, a like, thumbs up. It really goes a long ways for us. And whenever you guys give us super chats, that is what we put back into the channel to continue making it better for you. And before you know it, actually, now that the Kings are probably going to be playing a little bit later into Summer League, you've got some teams already, or rookies, reporting to NFL camps. We'll have the NBA Dead Week. Training camp will be here. Hall of Fame game will be here. It'll be football fever. And then Kings training camp will be opening up. So we are just around the corner. We are getting you through the slow times of the sports summer. So come and join us again tonight, 7 o'clock. Grant and I will be back together. And thanks to all you again for hanging out with us here on the King's Court. All right, I think we're going to get ready to wrap up. If you're just joining us, Kings 94-86 winners today, making them go 4, or that makes it 4-0 in Summer League. Big thing to track now. These are not updated, but the Kings need to be in the top 4. You have 8 teams that are undefeated. San Antonio and Charlotte play tomorrow, so one of them will go away. You would hope it's San Antonio. I would hope it was San Antonio. But if it's not, you want Charlotte to play them in a close game so that net rating goes down, because the top 4 teams, even if you're undefeated, you have to have the highest net rating. Right now, after today's game, the Kings net rating sits at 11.5. Minnesota did win, but their net rating is lower, so they are eliminated. Also tonight, Oklahoma City in action, so we'll know whether they will be in or out. The other 2 games will be tomorrow that you need to pay attention to. If the Kings are in the top 4, then they will play on the 19th in a semifinal game and head to the championship game if they're able to win that on the 20th. Nique Clifford continues to impress, looking far beyond his years. 19 points again today, 9 assists, 1 turnover. As I started the show, Sacramento, you got a real one. You got a real one here. Not saying he's going to be an all-star this year. This kid's good. This kid is exactly what the Kings needed. He is not a ball stopper. He is smooth. He gets to his spots. He sees the floor naturally. He is one of those guys that was born a point guard. Just a little bit of a bigger body. Not saying he's the next coming, but to be able to get back into the first round, grab him at 24, best case scenario. We said that you're probably not going to have a rookie that walks into the Kings building and affects the season, and he's not going to bring the Kings to a championship contender this year, but we all were pretty kind of low on the Kings coming off of the loss to Dallas in the play-in, and then everything that transpired with the way that Monty was fired, Scott was hired, Doug was brought back, just really a lot of Vivek stuff. But Scott Perry, you can't deny him here. He has done a great job with this draft. Max Reynaud, he's going to be pretty good too. He's got some smoothness. He's going to need a little bit more time. He's got to get that body improved. But the Kings will do that. They did that with Keegan Murray. So a lot to be encouraged about. It's only Summer League, but hey, we didn't expect really much. Nique Clifford, though, now has had a better, even though the Kings won the Summer League championship with Keegan, I think Nique's had a better Summer League than Keegan. I think the only way you can debate me there is that Nique is playing with a more experienced Summer League team. That's where there's a little bit of nuance. But either way, you got a good one. And we're looking forward to hopefully seeing another game out of him. 9 assists, 1 turnover. Yes. And the Kings gave up 23 offensive rebounds. 23 offensive rebounds. Check this out. 23 offensive rebounds, 15 turnovers. They still end up winning the game. So good on them. No Mason Jones in this one. We'll see if he becomes available should the Kings have another one. All right, we're out. Grant, me, 7 o'clock. We'll be updating you on the OKC game. See if they can take a loss and knock themselves out of that top 8 as well. We'll be taking your calls tonight and looking forward to being back with Napes and all of you here in about 2 hours. Thanks for tuning in today. Go Kings, light the beam. Court is dismissed.
Order in the court.